Hello, Happy New Year, and welcome to the Drawhunter. I am your charming host, Kevin Cleary, and this is the soccer gambling podcast where we don't pick any winners or losers. We hunt for the result that pays better, the draw. I like to bet the draw because draws happen a lot. 30% of all pro matches end in a draw every year, and that's across all the leagues around the world and international competitions, and it happens year after year, season after season. So why not try to figure out when and where the draws will occur and get paid for it? Most soccer bets at a sportsbook are settled on a result after regulation time, which is the 90 minutes of standard play plus stoppage time, unless otherwise stated in unusual circumstances. If a game goes into overtime or penalty kicks, that usually doesn't apply to our draw bet, and we win. So we are looking for the matches with near perfect possession splits and goal margins and historic draw events, making them prime candidates for a scoring deadlock. These are the hidden value draws where the market is pricing outcomes too heavily towards the favorites or volatility. These are the games where parity pays off for us. And look, even if you want to bet on winners, and I can understand wanting to do that, running down the games through this sort of handicapping perspective is still a valuable betting tool. Because if you can figure out which games are more likely to end in a draw, so you don't get burned on your win bet, that would be a good thing too, right? So normally we dive into last episode's winners right now at the top of the show, but because of the New Year's holiday, we're recording this episode a little early, so the results are not all back yet. We will update next episode, just like usual. But there's a lot of New Year's action this weekend across Europe and around the world. So let's analyze all our draw contenders right after this quick message from the SantaBarbaraMint.com. The SantaBarbaraMint.com offers a carefully curated collection of the finest limited edition and one-of-a-kind collectibles from the coolest franchises in entertainment. If you've got a favorite TV, movie, comic book, anime, video game, they've got something for it in the vaults there at the SantaBarbaraMint.com. Use code DRAWHUNTER, that's where we come in, at the checkout for a one-time 20% off your whole purchase, not just one item, everything you can stuff in that shopping cart on that website. 20% off. SantaBarbaraMint.com. Use code DRAWHUNTER. Save that 20%. Now let's get into the games and the picks. Today we're going all over the world, literally, to find games to bet on. These fixtures will combine low scoring averages, balanced possession rates, injury disruptions, historical draw frequency, and market pricing that combine to give contrarian value to the bets that we're looking to make. These games are taking place January 3rd and 4th, 2026. Once again, Happy New Year. So first up on Saturday, we've got in AFCON, the Africa Cup of Nations. We're in the knockout rounds now, and we've got Mali versus Tunisia. And this is a game where Mali is plus 195, Tunisia is plus 170, and the draw is thin plus 185 on us because even Vegas knows that there's a likely draw outcome in this game. Their ball possession rates, Mali is at 53%. They have the ball 53% of the time. Tunisia has the ball 51% of the time. That's very close. That's the kind of thing we're looking for here. The goals scored and against, that's just this tournament that we have the numbers for on this one that we're running. Mali has scored 2 goals and they've allowed 2 goals. Tunisia is a bit of a machine. They've scored 6 goals, but they concede a lot too. They've allowed 5 goals. So why are they here other than that ball possession rate? Their head-to-head history. 3 out of the last 6 games played between these two teams were draws, including the last 2 games they played. AFCON and qualifiers between these two have produced multiple 0-0 and 1-1 grinders, okay? And this game is peak AFCON parity. 2 organized, tactically mature sides with limited attacking chaos ability. This game has penalty shootout vibes all over it for me, and is one of my more important picks of the weekend. So that's our first game for AFCON. So now we're going to go up to England. On Saturday, Wolverhampton is playing West Ham United in the Premier League. Molineux Stadium, home game for Wolverhampton Wolves. Wolves are actually the favorite in this game at plus 145. West Ham is plus 185, and the draw is plus 230. Look at these ball possession rates and how close they are. The Wolves are at 45%. West Ham is at 42%. Goals scored and against are a little wonky on this. The Wolves have scored 11 goals this season. Yay, Wolves. They've allowed 40. So they've had a rough season. They've had a rough year, but they've been playing well the last few games. West Ham has scored 21 goals, but they've allowed 38. So Wolves have often been the low-scoring team here. West Ham is a little bit more explosive, but they're just as leaky as the Wolves are. There's not a lot of draws in their head-to-head history, but there's plenty of one-goal games and rarely a blowout between these two. This is a bottom-of-the-table relegation fight. West Ham is number 18, and Wolves are last at number 20. Both of them will take a point here. Their styles mesh into a medium tempo, medium total kind of game where 1-1 feels very, very good, baked in kind of here. So that's England on Saturday. Let's go over to Italy in Serie A. We've got a game between Atalanta versus Roma, and it's a home game for Atalanta. They're at Giuis Stadium. They are the home favorite, plus 125. Roma is plus 230, even though they're number 4 and Atalanta's number 10. The draw is plus 225. Look at these ball possession rates between these two teams. I had to use a decimal point. Atalanta is 57.1% of the ball, and Roma has the ball 57.9%. They are both very capable of pressing and transitioning and countering very quickly. Goals scored versus goals against. Atalanta is at 20 goals scored and 19 allowed. Roma is at 20 goals scored also, but only 11 allowed. Both score, both concede. There's some big game volatility, but also long spells of stalemate. Head-to-head history. 5 of the last 20 were draws between these two. It's 25%. It's very average. There's a mix of high-scoring clashes and tense 1-1 games. We've got two teams here that are aspiring for a top 6 finish. They've got similar quality and attacking intent, and that's why they're on the list for a draw this weekend. So let's go over to Spain and La Liga. We've got one of our draw favorites, Osasuna, playing Athletic Club. It's a home game at El Sadar for Osasuna. Osasuna is actually the underdog at home at plus 200. Athletic Club, the powerhouse, they're a plus 155. The draw is only plus 200 because the boys in the desert are on to us now. Ball possession rates are pretty close, 45% for Osasuna, 49% for Athletic Club. Athletic has the slight edge here, but Osasuna is a compact and physical team. Osasuna's scored 17 goals this year. They've allowed 20. Athletic Club has scored 16 goals and they've allowed 24. So they are both able to score, but they're a little leaky. And the goals often come from set pieces and transitions against both of them. Their head-to-head history, 4 out of the last 10 games have been draws. This is a Basque Navarra clash that has produced plenty of 0-0 and 1-1 results. Athletic Club is number 8 on the table, and Osasuna is number 12. They will definitely take a point. This has a derby kind of intensity. I think there's going to be a low margin, strong defensive game, 0-0, 1-1 sort of a draw for us here. And then we're going to go over to Portugal, where we've got a couple more favorites. We've got Tondela versus FC Aroca. And this is a home game for Tondela at Estadio João Cardoso. And they are actually the favorite in this game for once. Plus 185. Roca is plus 250. The draw is plus 235. Ball possession rates are 44% versus 48%. Aroca has the 48%. We've got two very modest scoring teams here. Tondela has scored 9 goals this season. They've allowed 27. Aroca is not that much better. They've scored 17. They've allowed 39. So you see where I'm going with this already. Their head-to-head history points to this kind of result. 4 out of the last 11 games between these two teams were draws. There's been several low-scoring, tight matches in recent years between these two. Number 16, Aroca, versus number 17, Tondela. They're both at the bottom of the table and will take a point. Pure and simple. It's a pure Drawhunter profile for us here today. Staying in Portugal, we've got AVS versus Moreirense, and this is at the AVS Stadium. They are the underdog at home at plus 240. Moreirense is plus 125 favorite. The draw is plus 210. AVS has the ball about 43% of the time. Moore has the ball about 48% of the time. They're kind of even there. AVS has a problem scoring. They've allowed 11. They've scored 11 goals this year. They've allowed 41. Moore has 21 goals scored, 24 allowed. They're both mid-table. Well, technically mid-table in the goals for and goals allowed numbers in the league, but they really neither one of them has an elite attack here. 1 out of the last 3 games were draws. The other 2 were Moreirense victories. They were both 3-0. Moreirense is number 8 on the table right now. AVS is last place, number 18. Moore is not the best road team, and that's one of the reasons that they're on the list today. Let's jump over to Scotland. We've got a Dundee Derby at Tannadice Park, where Dundee United is the home team and Dundee FC are the visitors, who are plus 290, and Dundee United is plus 117. The draw is plus 262, and I like that number. Ball possession rates are very even here. 41% for Dundee United, 39% for Dundee FC. Dundee United has scored 28 goals. They've allowed 29 goals, so they're very even there. Dundee has scored 18, so they're less prolific on their goal scoring, but they allowed 33 goals, so they have got about the same sort of defense that Dundee United has. They're similar mid-table profiles, but here's the thing: these derbies between these teams. Do you know how derbies go? 4 out of the last 9 games played between these two teams ended in a draw. These draws have a history of ending 1-1. If you look back over the few of them, and United is on a draw palooza right now. They've had 3 draws in their last 5 games. Dundee United is number 6. Dundee FC is number 9 on the table. There's no travel for these guys. This is a classic 1-1 derby candidate, and it's probably one of my favorite games of the weekend. Staying in Scotland, we've got Kilmarnock again versus Hibernian. They're playing at Rugby Park. It's a home game for Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock is an underdog at plus 317, and Hibernian is a minus 117 favorite on the road. The draw is plus 245. Ball possession rates, Kilmarnock is only 40%. Hibernian is 48%. We like them to be, those numbers to be within 10. So that's starting to get to about where we want to put the cutoff. But the history of these two teams is one of the reasons that we're here today. Goals scored. Kilmarnock is having a rough season. They've scored 18 goals and allowed 35 to be scored on them. Hibernian is almost the reverse of that. They've scored 33 goals, but they've allowed 22 goals scored too. So, they both know how to concede. That's for sure here. Okay, but the head-to-head history between these two teams over the last few years, 5 out of the last 7 games were draws between these two teams. History has a way of repeating itself on the pitch. There's been a lot of 0-0 games. There's been several 1-1 games. Hibernian is right now they're number 5 on the table. Kilmarnock is number 11 out of only 12 teams in the Scottish League. So they're trying to fight relegation. They will take a point if they can. This is pure Drawhunter DNA in Scotland for us. We've got compressed odds, we've got 2 grindy styles, and a draw-rich head-to-head history between these 2 teams. It's one of my favorite games of the week. Let's stay in Scotland for one more game because, remember like a week or so ago, we picked 4 games in Scotland and 3 of them came home as draws. I'm looking for those same sort of results this weekend. We've got Motherwell versus St. Mirren. And you notice a lot of the same teams repeat themselves in these draw picks within some of these smaller European leagues. This one's at Fir Park. It's a Motherwell home team. They're the favorite at plus 101. St. Mirren is plus 278. The draw is plus 225. Motherwell has the ball a lot. They have it about 59% of the time. St. Mirren is at 44% of the time. Motherwell knows how to score, and they've got a solid defense. They've scored 28 goals this season. They've only allowed 16. St. Mirren is literally the reverse. 16 goals scored, and they've allowed 24. Again, so that's not why, none of those numbers are why we're here today. The head-to-head history between these two, 4 out of the last 8 games over the last couple of years has ended in a draw. And it's usually 0-0, 1-1, and the rest of the time it's 1-0. So they're hanging in there. The draw can happen at any moment. Right now, Motherwell is number 4 on the table. St. Mirren is number 10. They're trying to avoid relegation from the bottom 2 spots of 11 and 12. They will take any point they can to put some room between them and the other guys. This is another Scottish parity special for us on Saturday. And actually, that's the last game for Saturday. So let's move on to Sunday. Let's go back to Morocco and the AFCON Africa Cup of Nations tournament, which again is still in the knockout stage on Sunday, where we've got South Africa versus Cameroon. South Africa is plus 215. Cameroon is the favorite at plus 140. The draw is only plus 205. South Africa possesses the ball about 62% of the time on the pitch. Cameroon has it about 50% of the time. They're both similar in their scoring abilities and defensive abilities. South Africa has scored 5 goals and allowed 4. Cameroon has scored 4 goals and allowed 2. They both have very organized defenses with the capabilities of sporadic attacking bursts and countering and transitioning well. Here's the thing, again, head-to-head history between these 2 teams when you start talking about national teams and not just club teams. History almost always wins out. 3 out of the last 4 games between these 2 teams have ended in a draw. There was a 0-0 game, a 1-1 game, and a 2-2 game. Historically, they are very cagey matches, and they're usually low-scoring. Meet that 2-2 was actually an aberration between what's gone on between them the last 3 or 4 years. This is a classic AFCON parity spot. We've got 2 very proud, structured sides, narrow margins, and again, some real penalty shootout vibes, which is what you start to get in these knockout stages of some of these international tournaments. So we're playing the odds on that one there. So let's go back up to England on Sunday in the Premier League. We've got Everton versus Brentford at Goodison Park, one of the best songs in the league, period. Let's go down to Goodison Park. Plus 140, Everton is actually the favorite at home right now. Brentford is plus 205. Everton has the ball about 42% of the time. Brentford is about 45%. They're very even there. Everton slightly more direct. Goals scored versus goals against. Everton is an even 20-20. Perfect 20-20 vision on their part. They've scored 20 goals. They've allowed 20 goals. And there you go. Brentford has been a little, basically the same, although the numbers are a little higher. 28 goals scored, 26 goals allowed. So they both know how to score. They both know how to concede for us, too. They're both mid-table right now. Everton is a bit tighter defensively when they're at home. Historically, the last 3 out of 6 games played between these two ended in a draw. There's been several tight games, quite frankly. There was a 0-0 game and a 1-1 game, and there have been a couple of narrow wins for both sides. But Everton is number 8 right now. Brentford is number 11. They've both got they're in comfortable positions, and would both of them would take a point if allowed or necessary. And with the similar underlying metrics behind each team, I think this is a classic Drawhunter spot for myself. Now let's go over to Italy in Serie A. Lazio, one of my favorite teams. They have paid off for us several times over the last several weeks. We've got Lazio versus Napoli. This is a little different for Lazio this time, but they're at home at Stadio Olimpico. They're plus 235 underdogs. The visitors, Napoli, are only plus 135. So even Vegas isn't like completely convinced that Napoli is going to just walk in there and win. The draw is plus 200. Ball possession rates are pretty even. Lazio's at 51%, Napoli's at 56%. So they're both strong on the pitch. Similar sorts of numbers when you start talking about goals scored and against. Lazio's scored 18. They've allowed 12, which is pretty good. Napoli has scored 24 and they've allowed 30. So again, we've got two teams that can score, but they also can concede. When Napoli, even though they're number 3 on the standings right now, have allowed these 30 goals and only scored 24. They tend to have some defensive lapses in transition, quite frankly. Head-to-head history, solid for us. 2 out of the last 4 games these two teams played were draws. As I said, Napoli is number 3, looking to hold their spot. Lazio is doing well at number 8. So these are 2 top half sides with very similar attacking upside and volatility. And I think even though Napoli is technically a better team here, I think this is one where Lazio is just so good at home. They will, if the score is anywhere near close or even in the second half, Lazio will park the bus and do what needs to be done to take home that point. So let's go over to Hellas Verona versus Torino. This is a gate Verona. We're in Verona. And they're plus 160. Visitors are plus 185. Torino's 185. The draw is plus 205. So even the guys in Vegas aren't really sure what's going to happen here. They've given almost equal chance to any outcome for both winners and the draw. Torino, 39% has the ball about 39% of the time. Verona's got it about 44% of the time. So they're very similar in their defensive lapses, I should say, because Verona's scored 13 goals and allowed 25. And look at this, Torino's scored 17 goals and allowed 28. Okay, they're both low-scoring teams that concede. But 3 out of the last 6 games these two teams have played were draws, and there were 0-0 and 1-1 scores each time of those 3 ties. So number 13 Torino versus number 18 Verona, and this is out of 20 teams. So Verona will take a point to get out of the relegation zone if they can. Peak Serie A grinder here today. We've got a slow, physical, low-scoring event. Now let's go over to Spain in La Liga, where I know half the reason you tune in is to hear my exotic accented pronunciation of foreign teams' names, where we've got Real Sociedad versus Atletico Madrid. They're playing at Real Arena for Real Sociedad home game. They're plus 300 here. Atletico's minus 109, heavy favorite on the road. The draw is plus 240. And yet, ball possession rates are very even. Real has it 52% of the time. Madrid, 53. Goals scored, 21 versus 25 for Real. 21 scored, 25 allowed. 33 scored, 16 allowed for Atletico. They're both kind of strong defensively with very controlled attacking profiles. But again, historically, between these two teams, no matter what else is going on, 5 out of the last 13 games were draws between these two teams. Several 1-1s, a couple of 0-0s, most often under 2.5 if you're an under better. Madrid is good. They're number 3 right now. in the standings, and Sociedad is number 16, but they're at home and they've got a tactical discipline that leads me to thinking this could be one of those 0-0, 1-1. If you're going to bet Atletico to win here, you might want to bet the win, draw, no bet, just in case for yourself. Okay, I think this is one of those games where, yes, again, like we had the team. This is a better team going on the road, but at the end of the day, these draws happen. Even the best teams have draws. When you look at, they add them up by the end of the season, and this I think could be one of those for Atletico. Now we'll go over to France. We haven't been there yet this weekend. In Ligue 1, Le Havre versus Angers at Stade Océan, which is a home game for Le Havre, who is plus 110 at home, and Angers is plus 270. The draw is plus 220, a more likely outcome than Angers winning. But we've got very even ball possession rates. Le Havre has 45%. Angers has 42%. We've got two teams that kind of sort of know how to score. Le Havre has scored 13 goals this season. They've allowed 22, though. And Angers has only scored 17, but they've allowed 18. So a lot of offsetting numbers there. The last two games that these two teams have played, though, in the last year, were draws, 0-0 and 1-1. Okay, this is historically a very super grindy. If it's not 0-0, 1-1, you're looking at 1-0, going both ways. So we've got number 10, and this is a mid-table battle, really. Number 10 Angers versus number 15 Le Havre. I think it's a pure party spot in a low total environment, scoring wise. Alrighty, one more in England, but this time in the Championship League. We've got a game in Birmingham City versus Coventry City at St. Andrew's Stadium. Very close odds between these two teams. Birmingham is plus 155. Coventry is plus 170. The draw is plus 235, which looks really good for me here because ball possession rates, Birmingham is 55%. Coventry is 54%. Goals scored, 32 goals scored for Birmingham, 34 allowed. Coventry City is a little more prodigious. They're 55 goals scored. These guys know how to score, and they've allowed 26 scored out of those, and 8 out of the last 14 games between these two teams, including cup and league matches, ended in a draw. This is a very historically draw-friendly Midlands fixture. Coventry is in first place. They can afford to take a point right now. Number 17, Birmingham, would take a point no matter what happens. The classic championship parity game with some tight numbers and a low margin. Birmingham has 3 draws out of the last 5 games, and Coventry has 2. So that shows you what kind of mindset the managers are in both of their respective places right now. So one final game, we're going to go all the way down under to Australia, to the Australian A-League, where we've got Adelaide United versus the Central Coast Mariners. And this is an Adelaide home game, at Cooper Stadium. They are a minus 156. Central Coast is plus 375. The draw is plus 316. We've got a 51% ball possession rate for Adelaide United and 45% for Central Coast. Adelaide has scored 16 goals this season. They've allowed 13. Central Coast has scored 11. They've allowed 17. They are one of the league's most consistent both teams to score teams, actually, right now, as the Australian A-League gears up. I told you I'd be including them a lot more as we go forward when the games are right. The last two games these two teams have played, one was a draw, one was a win. Usually, and you go further than that, it's usually 1-1, 2-2, and a couple of one-goal thrillers. But number 5, Adelaide, is in a good place right now. Central Coast is in last place at number 12. They're both aggressive, open, transition-heavy teams with shaky defensive profiles. to say the least. And they are the last pick of the week, or actually, I should say, last game of the week. And now I'm going to do I've got five. I'll do top five this week. My top five, I've got Kilmarnock versus Hibernian, Tondela versus Aroca, Hellas Verona versus Torino. I like Mali versus Tunisia. And I like the Dundee Derby, Dundee United versus Dundee FC. So that's it for this episode of The Draw Hunter. I'm still your charming host, Kevin Cleary. New episodes drop twice a week, Mondays for all the midweek action, and Thursdays, like today, for the weekend slate. Happy New Year again. Special thanks to the fine folks at sofascore.com. They're not a sponsor, but they are the place where I go for my statistics and results and use them to crunch all the numbers that I bring to you each episode. Please subscribe to this podcast at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, wherever the heck you get your darn podcasts from every day, every week. If you have any questions, comments, or pics of your own to share, email us at drawhunterpodcast@gmail.com. From the entire Draw Hunter team, thank you for listening. And remember, there's no stopping it. These draws are going to happen. Gambling involves risk. Please gamble responsibly. This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. No guarantees are made regarding results or financial gain. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. You must be of legal age to participate in gambling activities. Check your local laws and regulations before placing any bets. This podcast was made by humans.